Tonight on Evening Magazine.
It's Teen Evening from downtown Seattle.
A West Seattle photographer hits it big by getting small.
An artist who makes jewelry for your eyelashes.
It's been 19 long years since we've interviewed Kathy Bates. Tonight, we get her back on the show.
And we found your dome, sweet dome, on another edition of Unreal Estate.
Welcome to the show, and we are here to celebrate. What are we celebrating?
We are celebrating the birthday of this place.
That's right. The Smith Tower actually turns 100 years old this Friday, and it's still an essential part of our skyline for sure.
Yeah, when it was built, it changed Seattle forever.
At the beginning of the 1900s, Seattle has doubled in size in a decade to 80,000 people. But as big as the city is growing, something else is about to arrive that will loom large to this very day.
Smith Tower is Seattle's skyscraper. It was the first, it remains the most iconic, and it was completely revolutionary in its day.
The idea for the building first arose when industrialist L.C. Smith wanted to construct an 18-story building on land he purchased in downtown Seattle. But his son, Burns Lyman Smith, convinced him to build a much taller skyscraper instead.
Smith was the typewriter and firearm magnate out of New York, decided to invest in Seattle. It was a booming city.
The corner of 2nd and Yesler was chosen as the perfect spot to build. But L.C. Smith died before construction began in 1911. His son made sure the project went on. From the beginning, it was clear this building would be nothing like the city had ever seen.
It was really revolutionary in a couple of ways. First, it was entirely steel frame construction. That was a first.
Nearly 8 million tons of steel was used during the tower's construction. Window frames were fashioned of bronze. Doors were steel, hand-finished to resemble highly grained mahogany. All this was done to make sure the building would be completely fireproof.
It was totally encased in terracotta. So even though it had classical ornament and looked like a building from some historic period, it actually was reborn every time it rained. You never had to clean it.
Inside the building is magnificent as well.
They're beautiful brass elevators, and in fact the lobby is treated in a very ornamental way with beautiful onyx and marble, historic Indian heads.
When it was completed in 1914, the L.C. Smith Building, as it was called, was the 4th tallest building in the world.
Opening day was a big deal. It was July 4th, and 4,000 people came to the Smith Tower, went straight to the top, got out on the observation deck on the 35th floor, and got the first bird's eye view of the city that anyone had ever had from that height.
The building didn't officially change its name to Smith Tower until 1929. It would continue to dominate the skyline for decades, until the early 1960s.
The Smith Tower was the tallest building in Seattle until the Space Needle arrived.
Today, the Smith Tower is dwarfed by its much bigger neighbors. But even after a century, you won't find a building that towers as high in the hearts of locals.
I think what's so great about the Smith Tower is much taller buildings have been built many times over. But when you look at the Seattle skyline today, you still see the Smith Tower. It still stands out as a beautiful symbol of our future.
The Smith Tower's actually had 12 owners over its 100-year history, the most famous being Ivor Haglund, who bought the place in 1976. Guess how much he paid for it?
How much?
What, don't you know already? So
I know, the answer is $1.8 million, which is pretty amazing because when Lyman Smith built it in 1914, it cost $1.5 million, $1914.
Wow.
That was a lot of dollars in 1914.
Sure was.
You can pay not a lot of dollars to go up to the observation deck this weekend because in celebration of the 100th anniversary, they're reducing the price to what it was when it first opened.
Which is?
Which is a quarter, 25 cents.
Oh,
so
sweet.
you can go up this weekend.
That.
Did you know that? He knew that. Of course he knew that.
One of the cool things, it was kind of the first opportunity for a lot of people to be that high up. So
Yeah.
they would look down below and see tiny little people like they'd
Right.
never seen before, which reminds me of a story we have about a tiny photog from West Seattle.
Well, growing up in the 80s, there were a lot of movies and TV shows that had miniature people in kind of oversized worlds. You know, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Inner Space and The Incredible Shrinking Woman. And I was a model railroader, and I built models and like Matchbox cars and things. So I was always kind of fascinated by small, meticulously detailed things. My dad gave me a camera as a gift and I just started taking pictures. Never had any kind of schooling, just, 30,000 bad pictures and you finally take some good ones. Then I saw an artwork around 2002, 2003 that used little figures in a big diorama. It was at the Saatchi Gallery in London. And that's when I kind of started putting it together that it might be interesting to kind of explore this area. The series has been called Disparity just because of the size disparity between the tiny figures and the large food. I also have been calling it Big Appetites. Everything in the entire series has been shot with a single 100mm macro lens. If you look at the components of the work, it's toys and food. I mean, it's something that's accessible to everybody. It was really important to me for everything in this work to be real and to be edible. The figures are hand-painted in Europe, and I special order them. I'll often repaint them, and I'll sometimes modify them. When people first look at the images, it's a little deceiving. They look like real people. I got this figure of an older woman in a shopping cart, and I kind of thought about her being intimidated by the variety of cheese. So the caption kind of had already come to mind. Doris liked it better when the variety of cheese consisted of white and yellow. All the images come along with quotes. That's deep tea divers. Eric always had anxiety before a deep tea dive. 422 days without an accident at the chocolate quarry. Gary always used too much mustard, but no one could say so. It was a union thing. This is something I just did for fun, and other than my 10-year-old niece, nobody really cared about this project. But then I was lucky enough to get some interest from an editor in England, and they syndicated the images in the British press. And by summer, they were just everywhere. They've been published in about 85 countries now. And I had, book offers, and I had galleries calling. I'm still kind of in shock the whole thing happened. I mean, this is to have my works in galleries across the world, being actually selling photographs in this art market. I did it for the inherent joy in creating the images. I'd like to say that I'm clever enough to know that this would have this kind of resonance, but it's kind of surprised me how popular the images have been.
Christopher's book, Big Appetites, is available at your local bookstore.
It is a great book. That is our coffee table book. I have it at home and my kids love looking through it. It has awesome pictures.
Very cool.
When we come back, we're going to join you from the top, the very tippy top of the Smith Tower.
I'll save the elevator.
Sane already left.
All right, thanks, Hank.
Catching up with actress Kathy Bates later. And the Seattle artist making jewelry for your eyes after this.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We are inside the Smith Tower now. We have made it to the 35th floor. This is the famous Chinese room and observation deck.
And we got here via the only bank of hand-operated elevators west of the Mississippi. Misty was our driver.
Yes.
My favorite part is how you can see the floors as you go by.
Yeah.
Is she called a driver?
I think she's called an
Operator.
Driver. She drove that beautifully.
She steered it perfectly.
This place is amazing. You might see up above we have hand-carved ceilings. We have the Blackwood furniture and 17th century art panels all around the room. These were a gift to tycoon L.C. Smith from the Empress of China, I'll have you know.
I don't like how that guy's looking at me.
Yeah.
And the other great thing is that you've got a 360-degree view of the city at about 400 feet up, so it's quite the view.
Yeah, there's also this special chair that you can sit in, the wishing chair, I think. And if you're single and you sit in the chair, legend has it, you will be married within a year, if anyone here is interested.
And that's a good thing,
yeah,
is that right?
It's a good thing. Lots of historic art in here, but there's actually a local artist who's making a new kind of art. It's jewelry for your eyelashes.
Weird.
I'm so glad I woke up today.
If eyes are the window to the soul,
Everything is going my way.
consider this the dressing.
Well, it's jewelry that you wear on your eyelashes.
Natalie Russo is by nature low-key. Her creations are anything but. Bold, outrageous, look-at-me lashes.
It's just sort of a sturdier, over-the-top version of regular false eyelashes. Instead of using human hair or synthetic human hair, I use tiny beads and the finest possible jewelry wire.
Then she embellishes with feathers or small pieces of clay as light as paper. Add some eyelash glue, use a bit of precision, and voila! Natalie says over time you almost forget they're on, until people start staring.
Sometimes, because I'm so used to wearing them, I'll be surprised and I'll be like, what, do I have something on my face?
The lashes have been part of her own look for years. She started making them as a teenager.
Yeah, while I was going to college, I would wear them almost every day just to test out new designs and see if they could sort of pass the test of lasting a day in classes, you know.
Natalie quietly opened an online store and customers trickled in. Then recently, a beauty editor discovered her work, and it went viral.
Suddenly I saw myself on MTV.com and that freaked me out pretty bad. Insane. I get so many emails a day, so many sales. I can hardly keep up with the sales. I've quit my day job.
Now she spends 8 hours a day here, patiently creating tiny pieces of art. It's painstaking and time-consuming, but for Natalie, that's the point.
It is important to me that it's made by hand. I absolutely don't want them mass-produced. That's why I'm pursuing a patent for the beading work.
By staying true to herself, Natalie may just redefine glamour and give the world an entirely new way to look at things.
I don't know if this will sell my product, but I think most of all I encourage people to make their own accessories and just do what feels right for you. And if you like the look of something, just go for it. Ta-da!
So if you're interested in getting any of Natalie's eyelash art, it is available on Etsy. We have a link on our website.
No, it looks like it would be painful. It looks like you feel like you have stuff on your eyes.
No, it's light. It's light. It
Seems like I've tried it. I totally know.
You tried it?
Yeah, he's wearing some right now.
It
It's
looks
just
so
subtle.
natural.
It's subtle.
It is something.
It's Dome Sweet Dome, and it could be yours later. And Kathy Bates then and now when we come back.
Hey, I'm Jim Dever. I've gone weightless. I've gone underground. Even gone to the dogs. I've done a lot of weird stuff on Evening Magazine. So what's next? We'll leave that up to you. I dare you. Dare you. Dare you. To dare me.
Want to dare Dever? Send him your dare at eveningtips@king5.com.
I dare you. Welcome back to Evening Magazine from the Chinese room of the Smith Tower, celebrating its 100th birthday.
Well, 24 years ago, Evening Magazine was actually here, but in much tighter quarters back then.
Yeah, in 1990, we had a chance to actually go way to the very, very top of the Smith Tower. There's a bubble up there you may have seen, and our former reporter John Stofflet was in there.
Yeah, not the apartment. We still haven't gotten into that apartment, but this is where John Stofflet started. What was he doing?
Well, they were going places that no one else could go, and our photographer, Tom, says at the time it was such tight quarters he actually had to disassemble the camera to get it all the way up into the bubble to get the shots that you're looking at.
Finally, I wiggle my way to the top. Wow. It's 460 feet above the ground. Mr. Bubble says he can smell food from Pioneer Square restaurants and can even hear conversations people are having 42 stories below.
Not real clear, but the laughter comes through real well.
I have something to show you guys.
Okay.
I want to show you as well. Take a look at this, okay? Rita, who's from Graham, was having dinner. It was at Muckleshoot Casino, was having a beet salad, and she could not eat this piece.
Is that a
because
face?
Yes.
What is that a face
She
of?
saw a woman's face, and if you zoom in.
Absolutely.
Do you remember we used to see a lot of these images in food things, and it's been a while. So thank you, Rita, for bringing that back in.
She did not say it was the Virgin Mary.
No, no, it's just a face of some sort.
Well, from Bates to Bates, Kathy Bates. You know, it's been like 19 years since we've interviewed
Almost
her
2
on Evening
decades.
Magazine.
That was an amazing transition from
you.
Beats to Bates. No, we have been around. The show's been on the air for a long time, and over the years we have gotten the opportunity to interview a lot of celebrities. And tonight we're taking a look back and a look now at Kathy Bates.
Early in her career, Kathy Bates broke the mold to prove a point. You don't have to be a sex symbol to be a star.
Do you have a problem with your sexuality? No, ma'am, but I do have a problem with my girdle.
By being overweight, underdressed, and not always glamorous, Kathy became hot stuff on the big screen.
I'm telling you, I did not murder that witch any more than I'm wearing a diamond tiara.
Well, it was tough at first.
When Evening Magazine first met Kathy in 1995, she was still overcome with misery.
Is this what you're looking for?
Her starring role in the movie won an Oscar.
And what thanks do I get? Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie.
More attention-getting roles would follow.
I like playing people who have some depth to them and some place to go.
One of us is going to the boneyard.
And oftentimes that teaches me things about myself that I didn't know was there.
It's an approach to acting that holds true today.
Ready for the fireworks.
When we meet her again 19 years later.
I know this is going to sound pompous, but I've always felt from the very beginning that I wanted to create characters that have humanity in them.
Get your asses down here!
In her latest movie, Tammy, starring Melissa McCarthy, Kathy is a likable, flame-throwing, gay family member. It's a first in her long-running career.
Super uncool. I would never burn a watercraft.
No. Except for primary colors, I don't think I've ever really played a gay relationship, and certainly not one like this. It was no big deal was made out of it in the movie, and I think that was what was great about it. Your life sucks. Figure out what you really want and go after it.
Giving her characters hearts, making them human no matter what.
You just better start showing me a little more appreciation around here, Mr. Man.
Has always been Kathy's secret to success, then and now.
I want to show a different side to them, hopefully whole, not one-sided.
She is so great in everything that she does. Did you watch her in American Horror Story?
I've always caught season 1 of that.
Oh, it's so good. She was season 3.
Oh, I'm already up to season 8.
Hasn't had that many seasons.
Oh, sorry, I was just lying.
Hey, don't be surprised either if you see Kathy just walking around Seattle, because she told us that one of her best friends lives on Vashon.
Oh, why would she be walking around Seattle?
And tomorrow night we got Melissa McCarthy herself. She is Tammy in this movie, and it's supposed to be a big one.
Yeah.
And coming up after our little timeout, we're going to go outside.
Retro is back in another edition of Unreal Estate after this.
I'm St. Brian, reporter at Evening Magazine. I've literally traveled around the world to find stories for you, including pet washing machine, Napoleon Dynamite's hometown, and $5,000 toilet. I'm proud of all those stories, but we are always looking for more stories, especially about the fascinating people and places of the Northwest. If you've got any story ideas, please send them to us at eveningtips@king5.com. Thanks a lot.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We have come outside on the observation deck, and this is spectacular.
Yeah, you can see how people would 100 years ago. Can you imagine coming up here and seeing this view?
It's $1 million view, and you will get this view for 25 cents.
A quarter this weekend, because they are celebrating their 100th anniversary.
And while you're here, if you get thirsty, they have Smith Tower brand Jones soda.
Oh, cool.
Yep, strawberry lime and orange cream.
There you go. But you coordinated with your jacket.
Yeah, you can't see this. I can't see the orange cream here.
It's like camo.
Well, it's unreal estate time.
Yes.
We present homes that are unreal and kind of take you inside them. Today, you guys remember the Kingdom, which was actually right over there?
Yeah.
Of course, it turned to dust, so long, Kingdom. But the Kenmore Dome is still there for the taking. What?
I love this house.
Tammy Escal is our tour guide through this Hobbit-esque geodesic dome.
I showed a house, down the street, 2 or 3 different houses down there, and I always saw this one, always wanted to come in. So when I got the opportunity, it's like, yay.
Tammy's been selling real estate for 22 years and says this one is like no other. Just steps from the Sammamish River, there are 4 bedrooms tucked into this giant sphere.
The walls are slanted, which is kind of unique and different. And the 1 bedroom downstairs, it kind of feels like you're in the bottom of a boat.
And if you have a boat,
you're about a 10-minute boat ride from Lake Washington. And so you get to have the access to Lake Washington without the prices.
Or if you just want to hang in your retro ball, there's a lovely sitting room just up the spiral stairs, a sauna, 19 skylights, operated by remote control, and it's the rare home that has a fire pole.
The neighbor next door is a retired fireman, and he donated it to the house. So it actually came from a firehouse.
It's hard to not look up at the wood ceiling, but don't miss the kitchen floor below.
It's a solar system. It was custom designed, so it has all the planets, starts with the sun.
The glass tile takes you all the way from Earth to Saturn into the great beyond. And just beyond that,
this used to be the open deck. They've enclosed it in and made it into now a sunroom. This, you can see, was the exterior structure, the original one, so you can see how the dome was originally built.
the interior dome was built in 1974, but a major remodel modernized the place in 2006, adding bubbles and bubble windows.
They're recycled TV screens from the 1960s.
The loft bedroom that hovers above it all features some fancy footwork.
She special ordered this from New York. They were very creative.
So if you want to expand your circle, the Kenmore Dome may be just the right shape. You too can live in your very own bubble there in Kenmore for $825,000.
Well, tomorrow night we got a Seattle actor who's getting the kind of critical acclaim most Hollywood stars would kill for, Jim.
And in just a few minutes, we're going to get a tour. It's not like I've been drinking. A tour of the new Harry Potter theme park, so stick around for that.
Thanks for joining us on this perfect Seattle evening. Our photographer Tom is laughing if the camera's shaking. Good night, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Let's get Jim a cocktail.
He's already had plenty. My
that
gosh.
could be Seattle down there if I didn't
Go
know
home,
better.
Jim. You're drunk.